Hello, hello, hello. Happy holidays, everybody. Happy holidays. Give me a second, guys. My eyes are watering super bad, but I am excited to be here with you guys for another edition of Pop Culture Power. I know I have been bad getting these out on time, but it's because so much is going on social media. Welcome, you guys. Come on in and have a seat. Hey, Colton. Hey, Hip Hop Inquirer. Hey, welcome, welcome. So much going on social media. And as you guys know, as a writer and journalist, I don't just do this on YouTube. I actually am a writer, but I enjoy being able to kind of add a little bit of context to some of the things that you guys see as a senior writer for Collider, an editor for Rolling Out, and also editor-in-chief for Lennox and Parker. I have an opportunity to really be in touch with what's happening on social media and on reality TV and just in pop culture, period. And so I wanted to do these pop culture power segments to kind of give you guys my take on everything that's going on. Before I get started, I want to give a huge shout out to Seagram's Escapes. You guys, I have my Cynthia Bailey's Berry Mimosa. They are holding me down for today's episode, lightening up my lunch. So hopefully you get a chance to try this over the holidays. This berry mimosa is so good. But anyway, that's just to kind of wet my palate as we go through all this because there's a lot to talk about. I hope you guys are enjoying your holidays because I have my tree up. I have a few gifts there, but there's so much I have not done because I've been so busy keeping up with what's happening on Pop Culture Power. But the first thing I want to talk about before I get into all the reality headlines and things like that, the first thing I want to do is talk about a new movie that I am a huge fan of. I had a chance to go see a private screening of American Fiction, right? And while usually I'm writing about reality TV and all the drama that happens there, I think a lot of times as Black creators and I would say intellectuals, I'm going to go ahead and put myself in that category. A lot of times you have this strange pull between writing what actually is going to connect with your audience and actually writing for what you really believe in and what you think is going to push the culture forward. And if you as a creative or even as a fan have ever dealt with that dilemma, you are definitely going to be a fan of American Fiction. So I had an opportunity to do a cover on American Fiction, this new film by Cord Jefferson starring Jeffrey Wright, basically analyzes Black self-imposed stereotypes. And I love this movie because I feel like so often as Black creators, we feel like we have to, whatever we produce or whatever we create is going to affect the entire culture, right? So you feel like, oh my gosh, if I do this film, right, or if I write this article, it is basically, I am holding in my hands the balance of the perspective of the Black community. And so it's difficult sometimes. And then there's this whole argument between what is foolish and what is subpar versus what is Black excellence. Cord Jefferson does a great job of really getting to the meat of this in the satirical piece. It is actually a remake. It's actually a remake of the novel Erasure that came out in 2001. And as you see, from 2001 to 2003, African Americans are still struggling to do what, if Black art is supposed to be a commodity for the masses and for others to enjoy and digest, or if Black art should specifically be for representing the culture in an amazing way and pushing us forward. So I would definitely say check that out. The movie has already won several awards. It comes out officially on the 15th. And I really believe that Jeffrey Wright is going to be up for an Oscar, or if not, he will definitely need to win maybe one of the awards that we give ourselves, which is an NAACP award or something like that. He does a great job. Also in this film, before I move forward, Tracy Ellis Ross, one of my faves. Issa Rae, obviously one of my faves as well. And Erica Alexander, aka Max from Living Single. I hate to say, not that she's just basically, identified by that character, but Girlfriends had such a profound effect on me growing up that she's one of those actresses that I actually feel like is a friend in my head. One of my girlfriends, Treese, I feel like she had her exact personality. And so I always enjoyed watching that. So whenever I see her, I get goosebumps and I feel super nostalgic. But anyway, check out American Fiction. Let me know what you think. I think that it's a great way. Sometimes laughter helps us to digest things and to actually focus on topics without it being so heavy. But I think a lot of times, to me, it's the difference between watching something that is intellectually stimulating, like reading a Toni Morrison novel or an Octavia Butler series, or, watching Madeir go boo. you know so whichever one you like. I think it's okay for us to do both, but I think often as Black creators we get caught up in, are we trying to entertain, are we selling out by trying to be commercial and make a dollar, or are we holding on to our authentic integrity, our artistic integrity, and missing out on the dollar, right? So I struggle with that, writing some of these pieces, but I get a chance to do amazing pieces like the one I did on American Fiction, did that for Rolling Out. I also have another review coming out in Lennox and Parker. So check those out and make sure that you guys check out the film. Okay, moving on and getting into these reality TV streets. But actually, before we get into the reality TV streets, I want to talk about an article that I wrote for Collider that got a lot of backlash from personal friends. I did an article on, let me just go ahead and pull up that, that headline here. Oh, child, I wrote an article. Here we go. Surviving R. Kelly provides the perfect blueprint for a potential surviving Diddy. The allegations against Sean P. Combs feels eerily similar to surviving R. Kelly as the culture turns on another of its biggest idols. All right, so I want to have this discussion with you guys here, and the reason. First of all, let me take a sip because this is heavy, and I got a lot of backlash from friends of mine. A lot of friends felt like I should not have written this article until the ball dropped and until we figured out what the case was, what was going to happen. But that wasn't the purpose of my article. My article really is this, and I want to ask my chat this. If you're watching later on today, make sure that you let me know what you think down in the chat. What we have learned over the last 20 years, specifically the last 10 with social media, is that all of us are flawed. Even if you are amazingly gifted and talented, all of us are flawed. So I was having a conversation with a really good friend of mine and one of my business mentors. And he was saying, it's important that we do not tear down, Black men. And you guys know, if you watch this channel, I am definitely not one for tearing down Black men. I believe that we need to figure out how to be supportive of one another. However, truth is truth is truth is truth, right? So I feel like what we've been dealing with, as a culture, is because we did have so few examples of, extreme talent being able to reach the level of superstardom, right? So you think about people like Bill Cosby, who I have tremendous respect for and was a huge fan of growing up. And then we think of people like R. Kelly, who I might not have been a tremendous fan, but I definitely did bump, and grind a few times, right? And then we hear Diddy. Now, I will say I've been a fan of Diddy, right? I've worked in the business with artists that have worked with him. I actually media trained the contestants on Making the Band, which I was extremely proud of, having that opportunity to work with them and media train them. But I'm a fan because I feel like Diddy's example has represented Black excellence and what you can do if you push yourself and what you can do if you don't accept less, right? If you work hard. There's been so many amazing soliloquies that he's presented, like, you're not hot, you're fish grease hot. You're not fish grease hot, you're barely hot. So you got to keep going. A lot of times, me as an entrepreneur and someone who is always striving to be better, a lot of times I would listen to things. He's a very inspirational person, right? Outside of his personal personality and his personal things, if you don't know him personally and you're just watching his example, he is extremely motivational, and I appreciate that, and I think the culture appreciates that. Most recently, we have potential allegations from another huge mogul that is extremely inspirational. And so my question to you guys, and I'm going to put that title back up, I think a lot of times we idolize our stars, right? We idolize people that are very talented and have been able to push past the minutia of, being a Black creative and have been able to have this extreme amount of success that is admirable and also something that we can kind of strive towards. But we put these people on a pedestal and we forget that they are human also. So I want to make sure that I point out the subtitle to this says the allegations against P. Diddy, Sean P. Diddy Combs feels eerily similar to Surviving R. Kelly as its culture turns on another of its biggest idols. So this is not saying that he is guilty or not. I do recount some of the things, and not even in detail, because I read the 35-page document that Cassie's lawyers filed. And I want to say that it's just allegedly, cue to my good friend Dennis Byron, it is allegedly. However, there's so much in that document that others have confirmed. I'm not here to say if it's true or not. What I'm here to talk about is the fact that just because we place somebody on a pedestal and we enjoy their art, once it's clear that they in fact are human and they are fallible and they have flaws and the more money they have and the more fame and access they have, they probably have bigger flaws, because those of us that don't have access probably would be doing a lot more if we had the ability to. So because they have those things, once we realize their humanity, a lot of times we want to turn on them. I'm going to be the first to say I do not agree with anything that Bill Cosby was accused of doing, right? Horrific. As a woman and a Black woman in media and in entertainment, I was absolutely appalled to learn of some of his history. But what I will say is that if we pull the curtain back, right, on everyone who is successful and everyone who motivates us and everyone who gives us the will to push harder and go further, we probably would have no examples in front of us, right? So I am one of the few that I'm probably going to get a lot of backlash for this, that I still watch The Cosby Show. I watch The Cosby Show and I enjoy it. I watch A Different World and I enjoy it. I don't necessarily listen to R. Kelly because I feel like a lot of his music represented a lot of what he was accused of doing. And so the music, now there are some inspirational records. And if I Believe I Can Fly came on, or his record that he has with Celine Dion came on, I probably wouldn't I probably wouldn't play it, but I probably wouldn't turn it off. But I am here to tell you, regardless of what Diddy has done or not done, I am not getting rid of the Bad Boy soundtrack to the 90s. I am not doing it. It's too much music that was amazing. But what I can do is separate the man from the art. And I believe that art is ours for the taking. And I don't believe that we have to abandon the art, because a lot of times, just like I was talking to you guys earlier about Erica Alexander, and I feel like, I don't know her personally, right? I've met her once at an event, but it wasn't a personal thing. She probably wouldn't even remember that. And that's fine with me, because I don't meet celebrities and expect them to remember me because I'm there doing a job. But I did have an opportunity to meet her, but I don't know her personally. But what I do know is that her character, Max, brought me a lot of happiness and a lot of laughs. And it reminded me of my very good friend, Treese. So if I find out that Erica Alexander is this person that does things that I don't agree with, I am not letting go of Max. I am not. I'm just telling you guys that. And I'm also saying I'm not letting go of, I attended the Bad Boy 25th reunion, one of the most amazing concerts I've ever been to. Now, I am not condoning nor complying with any of the things that Diddy has been accused of doing, because I think they are horrific and horrendous. But I think it's really important for us, specifically for the entertainment community, I would say the Black community, but really this is beyond color, because so many of the people that we put on pedestals, once social media, and the research that people are able to do now, we are able to kind of pull back that curtain and see what's behind the whiz. It's very disgusting. And to Edna's point, they didn't go after Hugh Hefner and the Playboy Club. You guys, I used to be a Playboy, the clothing fanatic. I had like a Playboy bag that was like my little signature bag when I first came here, because for me growing up in the 80s, Playboy was like the epitome of what was considered attractive and sexy. Not sure why that was so important for me to for me to do, but I just thought it was cool, right? And so I loved the little bunny. I had a black and pink Playboy bowling bag that I loved. And I always tried to find things that were different. Point being, I am certain there was a documentary on the Playboy Mansion and all the horrible things that happened there, specifically to women. And I am absolutely not in agreement with that. However, I still wear my Playboy fashions because I enjoy it. Now, I think when it comes to a point where the representation of what it is aligned with the negativity, which is kind of almost like that for Playboy at this point, then there's a problem. But that's why didn't I don't support R. Kelly. I would never go to an R. Kelly concert. I stopped going to R. Kelly concerts years before my friends did. But I realized I can't judge people because you never know what that music or what that art or what that what that movie made people feel like. There's no way you can take away all the movies that Harvey Weinstein had a part in. What do we can't possibly do that. So I'm not here to say if I feel like Diddy is guilty or not, because I'm not a judge nor a jury. But what I am here to say is that we do need to speak up. I don't think there's anything wrong with speaking up, but I think we as a community and fans of art, music, film, television have to understand that these people are not perfect. And also we have to acknowledge a lot of what we have seen is only because these people are being exposed. If some of my chat, if you guys all of a sudden made it big and people were in your closet digging through your closet, you probably would not like what they would find either. So I just want to know, last point before I move on to the next article, are you able to separate the art from the artist? Are you able to enjoy a song that was written or produced or sang by someone that you may not agree with their lifestyle? I am able to do that. And I think that I'm able to do that because I understand that there's no perfect people. And I learned long ago in church that I could listen to a message, but not idolize or make an example of the man, because a lot of pastors were in the pulpit preaching great, true word, but we're not living that. And if you get confused in worshiping the person as opposed to appreciating their art, you're in for a rude awakening. So yes, I have no problem reporting. And even though a lot of my friends thought that it was scary, it's so weird that we live in a culture that we don't want to tell the truth on people that are successful. To me, the truth comes out whether you are successful or not. Now, if you're successful and have a lot of money, you may be able to abate the truth and keep it from coming out a little longer, but eventually truth is truth is truth is truth. So whatever P. Diddy has on, coming to him is on him. But as for me, I am going to shake a tail feather to any of the bad boy music because it was just a time of my life that I enjoy, and I'm going to keep doing it. And that goes for any other musicians or writers or filmmakers that I, find out horrible things about them. I refuse to give them back their art. I have taken the art for my consumption, and once I've consumed it, it's mine and it's not there. So if any of you out there want to let me know what you think about that, I love that. Fortunate by Maxwell. I did not know that was written by R. Kelly, and I am definitely still dancing to that, regardless of what R. Kelly or Maxwell does. I do not care. So yeah, there's a lot of beautiful art that is out there because we're all imperfect people. And for those of you that patronize this channel, I love you so much, but I am sure that I probably have done something in my past that you disagree with, right? But I would hope that would not prevent you from at least supporting me now, because I'm, maybe I'm not that same person. I don't think I've done anything that would cause people to want to cancel my channel, but people take things different ways. Criminal acts are different. But again, the art, I think, is ours to consume. So anyway, let me move on because I don't want to spend too much time on Diddy. But I did think that was absolutely, an interesting fact that so many of my peers were worried for me that I was, doing the wrong thing by actually stating my truth. And the truth is the culture is turning on Diddy. The truth is the culture will turn on anyone because social media don't love nobody, right? So from his businesses, distancing themselves with him, to other artists, the culture don't love nobody. Social media don't love nobody unless you have a hit record. But the second week out, it's up for grabs. So that's my 2 cents. Moving on. I'm going to move on to one of the lesser popular articles because I think it's a topic that I definitely want to discuss, and that is Kimmy Scott's husband Maurice failed at being a supportive husband during her cancer battle. This was an interesting story, and it was difficult for me to write, because if you guys know, if you follow me and you know a little bit about me, you know I'm a cancer survivor, right? And actually, my first marriage dissolved during, right after my surgery, and a lot of it was affected by that. So I'm extremely connected to this situation, not through them, but through my own experience. So my perspective may be a little bit biased. I can admit that, right? Yeah, a part of the points of this article is Maurice's insensitivity towards his wife's battle with breast cancer revealed a lack of empathy and understanding. Before I get started and kind of delving into this article, I want to say that during my own cancer battle and remission, my journey, I learned, because I was so hurt, right, that you would end up losing, your best friend during cancer. It was very hurtful for me. It also was very difficult for, the entire time I was going through it for my children. Just a very difficult thing to endure. I did not have breast cancer. I had ovarian cancer. So very different than, not very different, but different than what Kimmy experienced, right? So I remember going to therapy afterwards, and I was talking to my therapist, and I was in a support group for cancer survivors. And I learned that it is very common for marriages to fall apart during a cancer diagnosis. Crazy, right? That is nuts to me. But I learned that there was a lady that was in my cancer survival group that had brain cancer, and she was in her 50s. She had been married over 20 years, and her husband left her during her cancer diagnosis. And not only did he leave, but he left with a younger woman. And she was going through chemo, and he was on a cruise in Greece with his new woman. I remember crying with her, talking with her, and not really, and thinking to myself, wow, what is the purpose of marriage? Now, before people go off on me, I'm not saying that Maurice did any of that to Kimmy. But what I am saying, hey, D Glove, what I am saying is that Maurice doing an interview with Carlos King and saying, okay, I don't want sex, I need sex. And that Kimmy, even though her sex drive may not be back up, she should still go ahead and do it so that he's satisfied, I think is extremely apathetic on his part and disgusting. He has since apologized to his benefit. And again, I like Maurice and Kimmy very much. I think out of all the couples on Love and Marriage Huntsville, they have one of the stronger marriages. I like Kimmy very much. However, Maurice's conversation about how she should have rebounded after dealing with cancer and now being in remission is shameful. It is shameful. I can tell you all, when you are going through cancer, for those of you that have gone through it, first of all, your mortality is at the utmost in your brain, right? I did interview Kimmy. I've also interviewed nephew Tommy and so many other cancer survivors, but I'm just speaking from Christal's perspective. Going through ovarian cancer in my just after turning 30 was traumatic, and I remember not being very sexually turned on, and that being a problem in my marriage as well. And I don't think that my then husband at the time understood to his benefit. I don't think he really understood, just like I don't think Maurice understands. And it's proven because, like my therapist told me, in a lot of marriages during cancer, the spouse has no ability to help their husband or wife, right? Because they feel helpless. A lot of times for men who are very used to being able to fix situations, when you can't fix something, it gives you a sense of helplessness. And when I interviewed Kimmy and Maurice earlier this year, Maurice did acknowledge feeling very helpless during Kimmy's journey with through cancer, right? So with that feeling of being helpless, I feel like a lot of times men kind of go to what they know, and a lot of times they try to comfort their significant other through sex. I'm not making excuses. I'm just trying to be objective and be unbiased. But I do think listening to his consistent conversation has made me really feel like he not only owes Kimmy an apology, but he really needs to go through therapy. And maybe, I know that they're meeting with a sex therapist, which again feels very self-serving. But that was Kimmy's decision. But hopefully the sex therapist can explain to Maurice how a woman's body works, and that a lot of times, even a woman who's not dealing with cancer, if she is not turned on mentally, or if she doesn't feel safe emotionally, it can be very difficult to be sexually stimulated, right? Much even more so when you are dealing with a hormonal imbalance of just finishing chemo, and your body does not go back to normal immediately. It takes a period of time before you grow your hair back, before your hormones start to balance back out, before your skin, goes back to normal, because not only are you dealing with cancer, but it's also what chemo does to your body. So I just felt like that was horrible, and I was very disgusted with Maurice. And again, none of us are perfect, but that was a teachable moment for other people that are dealing with spouses that have cancer, that you may want to do a little bit of research and really educate yourself on once a person, the cancer is gone, does not mean they're emotionally back to who you knew before. And that's what Maurice thinks. He's like, well, I think it's just in her head, and it's not really, everything else is working, it's just in her head. Yeah, so that's why I wrote that article, and I hope that we'll see a change in Maurice. I hope that he will basically kind of educate himself, and hopefully he can share that, so it can be useful for other people. But as it stands, him and I think that Kimmy, as a wife, I know you want to make your husband happy, but prioritizing your sex life and getting with a sex therapist over just real therapy, because that suggests that it's not the sex that's the problem. It's really a connection, and Maurice being so self-absorbed that he doesn't understand that he is not the only person that's important in the marriage, right? So yeah, I had a reaction to that just because of my own PTSD, and it wasn't necessarily to put them down, but it is to say that cancer is not something, and no illness, whether I have a friend that has sickle cell, another person I know that has lupus, that I know really well, that has lupus. Like, when people are dealing with illnesses that threaten their mortality, you being concerned about anyway, yes, moving on. It's more to all of us than just our sexuality. So note to Maurice, do better. Do better. All right. Moving on to another article. And you guys, I am so tired of talking about this show, but I had to go ahead and do it because, oh, you know what? We'll just go here. We'll just go here. Child, this is the drama for this week. Tamar Braxton is exhibiting clown behavior for her Queen Court's fiance, J.R. Robinson. Now, this child, this has become a circus. A circus. As you may or may not know, Tamar Braxton of Braxton Family Values, of Love and War, of Vocals Supreme. I ain't gonna hold Tamar. Her vocals are out of this world. She is that chick when it comes to that. However, her reality TV persona leaves a bit to be desired on Braxton Family Values. And I don't remember the name of the show that she had with her ex-husband Vince, but Tamar is always over the top. In this article, I say she has a history of dysfunctional relationships, including that with her ex-husband, Vincent Herbert. The thing I think that people need to understand is reality TV, some people call it the devil, but I mean, all of us go through relationship drama, right? And I think it takes maturity to get to the point where you realize that just because you are angry at your significant other or your ex in the moment does not mean you need to go on social media and share that with the rest of the world. Because when you do, Chances is, chances is, and I said it like I meant it, chances is you may reconcile with that person. And then if you reconcile with that person, the rest of us are looking at you like, say what? And that's how we're looking at Tamar right now. Like, girl, say what? So you met this dude on Queen's Court. First of all, Peacock, I mean, it's reality TV. So they got to do what they got to do to get the views. You met this guy on Queen's Court and he wooed you because he was excited about being seen on TV, right? We know he has Simon vibes to me. We know how Simon wants to be. It's obvious. Simon Goopy, I can't pronounce his last name. But he was started out on Housewives of Atlanta with Fallon, and then he switched to Portia. And it feels like Simon really, really likes the reality TV lifestyle, which I think a lot of people do at this time. So no shade to Simon, but I just feel like JR is the vanilla equivalent of Simon. So Simon, no, JR meets Tamar on Queen's Court. And the two of them get together and they decide to start a YouTube channel. Because everything has to be super public and everything has to, be a way to get more followers and a way to be more, in the public eye and to get more popular and to, I wish Tamar would just sing because that's something that she does better than anybody. All the messiness, she doesn't necessarily do better than any other people, as we will see as I continue the conversation. So they get together. And it's very hot and heavy for a very short period of time, right? They are on a YouTube channel. Tamar is showing us what she cooks for JR. He's canoodling up with her. It's all we don't quite buy it. Okay, so then they break up. We saw that coming. We were just like, waiting on that. Man, and here we go. So they break up. And Tamar goes in a very dramatic post in true Tamar fashion. And she's like, oh, I'm not safe anywhere. Her car was broken into. I'm not safe anywhere with anyone. And she's going on and on. And JR comes out in his social media statement. And he says the two of them are not together anymore, but he wishes her well. And we already knew that wasn't gonna work. We already knew JR wasn't gonna be able to deal with Tamar. This always happens. So anyway, Tamar's last relationship with the supposedly wealthy African ended in imploding tabloid drama. Her marriage to Vince Herbert, imploding tabloid drama, all kinds of accusations of domestic violence and da-da-da-da-da. It's all these woe is me tales, right? Which all of us have, we just don't take it to social media. So, when you're mad at somebody, you're going to say everything. And then all of a sudden, now we see you guys back together as friends. Girl, leave us out of the group chat. But anyway, they are broken up. So Tamar has an op in Tommy Lee. Tommy has quite a few ops, but Tommy is extremely fabulous and also very savage. So I felt as if perhaps Tamar was a bit unmatched, just a bit outmatched with Tommy. So Tommy posts a video on her Instagram of her and JR canoodled up, right, at a game, front row. JR is looking in the camera, very taken with the social media hype that he knows this is going to deliver. So they are photographed. Tommy is posting the two of them together, and everybody is like, oh, because we know that Tommy and Tamar don't get along. So actually, it's very apparent that Tommy ain't really into JR. She's just using him to clown Tamar, and it worked. It worked. Score 1 for Tommy, 0 for Tamar. So they go out, they post all this, and then the next thing we know, Tamar is seen with JR again. So basically, Tommy goes out to a basketball game, Atlanta Hawks basketball game with JR, posts that, canoodles up, and then within days, Tamar responds by being out with JR herself. Why we are making this man, why are we making him the prize is beyond me. But, I was at an Atlanta Falcons game. I saw the two of them walking arm in arm, hand in hand, ready to show their love. And of course, they post the same thing. Now, that's kind of strange because it's no prize to post your leftover man that has been out with your op a few days earlier. It almost looks like it's just lame. It's super lame. So anyway, this causes the beast in Tommy to awaken. The beast in Tommy awakens. And she posts the receipts showing how thirsty JR was to get with her. She clowns Tamar about the fact that her ex would go out with her enemy, and not only go out with her, but he was like all up on her. It was quite shameful. It was quite shameful. So Tommy posts all these receipts showing how all she did was give JR a simple compliment. She told him that she looked nice in his suit. And the next thing you know, he said, yeah, they don't make them like me anymore, which I was appalled at the fact that we are inviting this man into our culture. I understand we gave him a pass for the picnic because he's kind of attractive, but we are inviting him in and making him the prize. Sisters, no, we shouldn't be doing that. But Tommy was just having fun with him. So I'm not really mad at Tommy. Tamar is the one we need to pull to the side. So after Tommy puts out this scathing, backlash, receipt-filled post, Tamar puts up a post claiming that her and JR are back together and that it was her fault that they broke up. We're not surprised about that. We knew that was the case. And basically saying the two of them are together. And of course, JR follows suit. He runs behind her and he posts that they're back together. He's so happy. And the two of them look like clowns, which is why my article claimed that, where did I put it? Bam! Tara Braxton exhibiting clown behavior for her Queens Court fiance, J.R. Robinson. I blame Queens Court. Who are the producers of Queens Court? They knew this was foolish. They knew that whoever they connected with Tamar was going to be a hot shit show. But so, yeah, this is still going on. Stay tuned. Their YouTube channel is probably going to be showing all types of shenanigans until they break up again. But anyway, Tamar, just saying, girl, your vocals, your pipes are unparalleled. And we don't want to see you going through all this. We don't want to see it. Or at least just come off of social media. We all want love, but back up off social media with all this, girl. Yeah. All right. Moving right along to Married at First Sight. Now, this is what I said I didn't want to talk about because I'm super tired of talking about this show. Married at First Sight's Denver divorce record proves the experiment is a failure. On Maps Denver, one couple doesn't make it to the altar, another chooses divorce after the honeymoon, and another decides not to move in together. Child, Denver is a hot mess. I love Denver because my mommy lives there, but Married at First Sight should never have went to Denver. Never. Not never. Maybe it should no, don't come back to Atlanta. Do not come back to Atlanta. I don't know where they need to go, but Denver was not it. I thought that Denver was going to be unproblematic because Denver is kind of like, it's a very privileged elite type of city. But this is drama that's ridiculous, and it's making the experts look like they are just completely, not capable of putting people together for anything other than ratings. This is ridiculous. There was a whole runaway bride, y'all. A whole runaway bride, and the bride saw the groom at the end of the altar and bailed out. Then we have this horrible situation with Lauren Orion, and I'm not going to go back into that because I talked about that at length, at verbatim, ad nauseum last time that we did this, but it is ridiculous. Orion is a Native American that is extremely sensitive to his own culture and extremely insensitive to others' cultures. So he acknowledges using the N-word in his past. However, he divorces Lauren because she doesn't necessarily make a joke, but she basically comes to an inappropriate realization about a racial slur, right? She doesn't understand what it means. When she understands, she laughs, and Orion hates her for it, right? But I call BS. Orion didn't like her. He probably was trying to go along with the process, but the reality is, no one divorces someone because of a situation like that. She's saying, I don't understand what this racial slur means. Then she says, oh, look at your skin. And then she apologizes. We see her apologize through 3 episodes, but he throws her apology in her face and basically says he wants a divorce. He finds no attraction. BS, Orion. You weren't attracted to her anyway. That's not your stilo. As far as I'm concerned, I am not completely convinced that Orion is into women. And before you guys start saying that I say everybody is, I say this about everybody, Orion has admitted to us that he was not sure about his sexuality, and then he went out with a man. And at the point that they kissed, it was revealed to him that he was not gay. But I'm assuming that perhaps he kissed the wrong man. Maybe he should try another one. Or if he is into women, maybe he's not into black women, or maybe he's not into black women that look like Lauren. I don't know, but I'm not rolling with his explanation of that's why he decided not to stay married to her. He left immediately. And then there is another couple. There is just, it's a lot going on with this season that's not good. Another couple is struggling with physical attraction and differences in religion, while the remaining couples have nothing in common. It is just a snowball of a mess, a Denver snowball of a mess. And I feel like the producers missed a teachable moment when Orion admitted his slur. I feel like producers should have intervened, but they did not. And so now we have this thing that's causing cultural issues because boundaries were overstepped. And then we get back from the honeymoon. We have Orion and Lauren are divorced. And then we have Brennan and Emily. Brennan admits that he's not attracted to Emily. I'm going to say this, and this is probably going to sound bad. I was really concerned about Brennan being attracted to Emily when she took out her tracks. She took out what happened is her tracks got really, really tangled and matted during the honeymoon. And I don't know why Emily has tracks, but she does. She has the kind that you bond in. And when she took them out, she was a little different. She's a very cute girl. And I actually like Emily. The interesting thing is Emily had never been in a relationship before. So I was concerned about her initially. But come to find out, Emily actually was really a lot more mature and actually really understood more about being in a relationship than Brennan. Brennan, who had been in relationships before, has been he seems like he doesn't know how to handle the situation. And he says that he does not want to say on camera that he's not attracted to her. When she asked him, are you attracted to me? He says, I can't say that. So that pretty much says he's not attracted to her. Now, you guys know I say this all the time. If you watch this channel, you know I tell people if a man is not attracted, what up? Happy holidays, C Boogie. If a man is not attracted to a woman, it is a wrap. If a man is not physically attracted to you, sis, run. Don't try to make it work. Don't try to figure it out. Don't try to get a haircut. Don't try to lose weight. Don't do nothing. Get out of Dodge, because if a man is not attracted to you, he is going to treat you horribly. Right? There's no way around it, whether you're on Married at First Sight, if you're on Ready to Love, if you're on Queen's Court. Do not waste any minutes with a man who's not physically attracted to you, right? And all you have to do not change yourself, sis. Do not change yourself. Go where you are loved. Find a man that loves you. Me, myself, I am a short, thick, curvy, caramel-skinned woman. Now, I met a lot of men in Atlanta that do not like brown-skinned women. Bye, boy. I'm good. I'm not going to try to change your mind. If you don't like curves, it's okay. It's fine. It's fine. Because if you stay in a situation, even for the experts, right? Forget Dr. Pia, forget Pastor Cal, and definitely forget Dr. Pepper. They try to make you stay in something with somebody who has told you or shown you they are not attracted to you. You have got to bail. It is only going to be bad in your self-esteem, sis. And I feel for poor Emily. Poor Emily, we are sending you. We need to send you some Seagram's Escapes. Can we send Cynthia? Send Emily some Seagram's Escapes. Her and her friends need to have some mimosas and need to help her Get over Brennan, because Brennan is never going to come back. The experts are setting her up to fail. You guys see what happened in Atlanta with Paige and Chris. It was a hot mess. And the reality is, men never change their attraction. Sis, if he don't like you, go where you celebrate it. I promise there'll be somebody who is really into what you bring to the table, but there's no such thing as convincing a man to feel you if he doesn't. Yes. So that's all I got to say. Mavs Denver is a whole failure. I like Keisha Knight Pulliam, so I'm going to keep watching the after party, but I have lost interest in even watching the rest of the season. There's another couple that is struggling with the religion. Becca and Austin. Becca believes Christians are evil. Austin is a Christian. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. It's not about the religion, the fact they don't like it, it's the fact that she has a huge issue. She has PTSD from dealing with Christians, and he's a Christian. It's a wrap. We need to get over it. And the other couple, Cameron and they don't even have chemistry. He's from Australia and he's finding a woman from there. It's all bad. It's all bad. So I say get out while you can. Get out while you can. Moving on to the next piece. Moving on. Ooh, child, this is a bad one. It is hard to feel sympathy for Basketball Wives British Williams. Basketball Wives star British Williams claims the feds gave her an unfair sentence because of her celebrity status and race. Did y'all see this? Did y'all see Carlos King's interview with British? Because it was hard to watch. And I didn't even really necessarily want to do this, but after seeing that interview, I was like, girl, okay, you're claiming that the feds gave you a 4-year sentence because you are a reality star and because you are Black. However, lots of other reality stars have been given sentences. And now the race card, but the fact that you did so much stuff, though, like it would be potentially, we would potentially consider the race card, ma'am, not the reality star card, because reality stars are going down left and right. Jen Shaw, Teresa Giudice, like they're going down left and right. But we consider the race card because we know how it goes. But I need to read you guys what she did. If you're not familiar, let me update you. British Williams is the latest star to get caught in a web of fraudulent financial crimes, proving all that glitters on reality television is not always gold. British was sentenced to 4 years in prison after pleading guilty to 25 felonies. 25. 5 counts of misuse of a social security number, 4 counts of misuse of a social security, 4 counts of misuse of a social security number, 4 counts of bank fraud, 3 counts of making false statements to the IRS, and 3 counts of wire fraud. 25 felonies. Now, British started out by saying, she said so many things that were contradictory. I'm going to run through them quickly. First of all, she said that everybody probably has done something that is fraudulent. She said that if you use your friend's or your cousin's food stamp card, that is fraud. Okay, that's true, girl. Then she said that she was not trying to keep up with the lifestyle. Her father was sick and she wanted to get the money to take care of her father. Then she said that it wasn't really as bad as it looked, because the crimes weren't necessarily as salacious as they made it seem. Then she said that her ex knew the whole time that she was doing it, and she was trying to help them, stay afloat because he was no longer playing and she was bringing in the money. Then she had said that she had a gambling problem. Then she said that it wasn't fair because Teresa Giudice did way more and hurt way more people, and she didn't get as much time as her. She said that during the gambling, I just want to read a couple of things because this is so much happening at our conversation with Carlos, making her feel like what she was saying made sense, but she just would not take any accountability, like zero accountability. And it was all everyone else's fault for an hour and a half. The courts, the boyfriend, the fact that other people in society are using fake food stamp cards. Her father had idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, which I'm so sorry to her father. Her father passed away in 2017, and this is right when she started doing the crime. And she also said that she had a gambling problem. She said that she remembered losing $50,000 in 2 days right before Christmas. It was just so much that she was trying to say. I don't think she really even, she was just on a weird trajectory of like, not my fault, race. She said so much that I just was like, girl, just stop. She named Todd Chrisley and his wife and said that they only got 6 years, and they stole millions. And I'm not saying that, other people might not have gotten lesser crimes, but girl, you. So then she said that Carlos asked her, should she have gotten a sentence? And she said that she feels like she should have gotten a year and a day. So she feels like they were 3 years over with her sentence. She said that that celebrities that are not Black get lesser sentences. And I'm not saying that may not be true, but girl, if you had came in and said, I was wrong, and, you know, I didn't, I was wrong. I was wrong. But she came in saying that gambling is just as bad as alcohol, and maybe it is, but it was just so many excuses. And she wanted her flowers for what she did on Basketball Wives, because she was the first one to be on with the guy that played overseas. She said, if I had to give what I think would be a fair sentence, it would have been maybe a year and a day. I saw someone else that did something similar and got that sentence. So I don't know if British has a law degree and she done studied their case. She actually says she's really into law now. And then she said that she likes what Kim Kardashian is doing. She was all over the place. But it was a hot mess. And I feel like maybe in order to be a reality star, you have to have zero accountability. But it was a hot mess. And girl, and unfortunately, because she's doing Fed time, she's probably going to have to do all 4 of them years. But according to one of the Jay Greenberg, out of the St. FBI St. Louis division, he said British Williams was getting paid to portray her celebrity lifestyle on the show when in fact she was a typical fraudster. After her sentencing, her reality is now the life of a felon. Drops mic. Jay Greenberg. Jay Greenberg drops mic. So last thing I want to say about this, I don't necessarily think that she was not doing it to stay up with the lifestyle. I think that reality stars, I think there's a huge difference. Reality stars feel like they have to keep up this lifestyle of especially girls that date basketball players or football players. Like as soon as that money is up, they want to keep wearing the designer clothes. They want to keep having access, and that can be quickly ripped away once that man stops playing or once he moves on to the next woman. So I think it is a lot of pressure, but that may be self-imposed pressure. I also think that accountability and humility go a long way. Maybe not on reality TV. So, anyway, but good luck, girl. I hope that her daughter, because she said, this is not funny, but she said that that the courts don't care. The first thing she said is that the courts don't care about family. The courts like to rip families apart. Well, the courts wouldn't have access, if you hadn't. But what with the 25 felonies? I mean, if there was no 25 felonies, the courts wouldn't have access. But who am I? I'm just Christal. So anyway, girl, British, do better. Yeah, so our justice system doesn't care about breaking up homes or tearing families apart. They don't care. But yet, people that don't have 25 felonies tend to have intact families. I'm just saying. All right, moving on to something positive, because that was a lot. That was a lot. And I really don't like to see anyone go to jail, but it's just a lot harder to have sympathy for someone who won't take accountability for their actions, right? We want to see you get out and do better, British. We want to see you be successful. Kudos to Carlos for, making you feel extremely, for catering to you and making you feel good. But we hope that you will get out and do better. And I also hope that anybody who is using their cousin's food stamp card will stop. Because obviously, according to British, you're committing a fraud crime, which you are committing a crime, but I don't know if it's going to get you 4 years in prison. But don't use the cousin's food stamp card. I don't even know if they still have food stamp cards, but if they do, y'all be careful out in these streets. Okay, be careful. All right, moving on to my last article, and this is actually a positive one, because we've had some train wrecks, but the Golden Bachelor was so much fun to watch, and the reason it was fun to watch for me was because I think that love comes in all ages. So at the end of it, the Golden Bachelor ended on the 30th of November, and Jerry Turner picked his bride. I gave 5 reasons why the Golden Bachelor made the right choice with Teresa Nist over Leslie Fima. Jerry Turner may have broken Leslie Fima's heart when he chose Teresa Nist, but Nist is the perfect woman for him. So this is why I feel like Teresa was the perfect woman, and I think this is a teachable moment for all of us out here, right? So a lot of times I think that women, self included, we feel like the key to a man's heart is to look beautiful, right? And so, first of all, when you come on The Bachelor, all the women on The Golden Bachelor were over 60. And I love that it taught the lesson that beauty is not subjective to age, right? There's no boundaries on um, what age is beautiful. I think beauty is doesn't have boundaries on it. Beauty is really in the eye of the beholder, and it really comes from inside. But so many times we don't want to believe that. We really want to believe that beauty comes from a BBL and a waist trainer, right? Or weave or whatever. We believe that beauty comes from things that are external as opposed to internal. And a lot of times men are the reason that we feel that way, right? Because men make a big deal over beauty. I've seen it. I've been around some of the most beautiful women in the world, and men act a fool when they're around a beautiful woman. However, that doesn't make them stay with the woman. And so I feel like Teresa was the winner of Gary's heart. Not the winner, like all the women are winners, but she won Gary's heart because she was the most positive woman in the house. She brought peace and a readiness for a new chapter in love. If you watch The Golden Bachelor, a lot of the women were still very hurt over losing their exes, or their husbands. A lot of them were widows, and they were still very hurt, which I understand. If you are blessed to find love and you lose your spouse, that's got to be very hurtful. And I understand also, just because something happens, it takes time. Everyone heals differently. But a lot of women were still full of pain, right? And you could see it in their interviews. You could see it when they talked. I think that Gary spent more time wiping tears away than he did laughing on dates. He spent more time wiping the tears of women that had never been in love after losing their husband. And that's sad. But it was beautiful to be able to see there is life after. There's life after 25. There's life after 35. There's life after 45. And I hope that life continues on. But this was a great example that there is. But I think a lot of times we feel like the most beautiful woman in the room is going to win the man, right? Or the most beautiful woman according to the standards of beauty that we have here, right? And so I think that out of Leslie and Teresa, even my own husband was like, oh, he's going to pick her because she was maybe more fit the standard of what we feel like beauty is. She was younger. She was a fitness instructor. She had the touseling cascading hair. And Teresa did not. Her hair was not cascading. But so I said in the article, Teresa was not as flashy or glamorous as some of her competitors. But when Jerry spent time with her, it was clear he felt a sense of peace and familiarity. Men have always listed peacefulness as a characteristic they look for in a wife, but often that request is overlooked for the easier goal of physical beauty or attraction. It is so funny, even here on my show, when I'm talking to the ladies that have been on reality dating shows, and I say, well, a lot of times men want peace, they will just totally ignore that. They will ignore that and focus on what they want. And they will focus on looking beautiful and making sure their edges are laid and making sure their waist is snatched. And very few women actually pay attention to actually being peaceful and creating a soft space for a man. And so I think that's why a lot of women are beautiful and very made up, but also very single because they're problematic. If you look at what we just talked about earlier, like Tamar Braxton, like I cannot imagine anyone saying that Tamar was peaceful and felt like home. Yes, she can probably cook. She's from the South. Yes, she's attractive woman, but she's not peaceful. And that's why I think at the end of the day, when we look at people like that, we think, okay, that probably is fun, but it's just not peaceful. And when men are serious about a relationship, a lot of them actually want to find a peaceful place to lay their head. I personally am working on being more peaceful. But I think that a lot of times it's easy to focus on trying to be beautiful or trying to be attractive because that's the more easy thing, right? You can put on makeup, you can get your hair done, you can go get surgery, you can put on a waist trainer, you can even go to the gym. But being peaceful requires you to work on yourself. It requires you to get still. It requires you to take accountability. It requires you to actually acknowledge your own flaws and work on them, not the ones that are external, but the ones that are internal. And a lot of people we just it's too hard to do, right? They want a quick fix. So, and they also want to show off to other people. So it's like, I'm prettier, I'm this, I'm that. But sis, you're problematic. So I think that it's funny because, talking to all the ladies that have been on reality shows, I just have never met any of them that want to provide that. Even women that I talk to that are in, real life. Reality shows are real life to an extent, but it just seems like women are not into that. And we all know that a lot of times men will say, women, be his peace. I think the Honorable Denzel Washington said that, be his peace. And I think that's why I listen to it, because you guys know I love Denzel Washington. But women don't want to do that. In fact, women will be like, well, what about my piece? It's just like, girl, if you want to catch chickens, you have to put down chicken feed. So congratulations to Jerry and Teresa. I think that if you looked at the season, it's a great learning experience because Teresa, when you're over 60, nobody really has the ability to have all those bells and whistles, right? The bells and whistles usually come with younger women, but beauty extends. A beautiful woman is always going to be beautiful, I think. And I think most importantly, as my mommy used to tell me when I was little, pretty is, pretty does. And you have to get to a point where you are at peace with yourself and you're truly happy. And then that peace will radiate from the inside out, and someone will want to be a part of that. And a beautiful example of that was Jerry and Teresa. And hopefully they stay together. I mean, Teresa, they 71 to 72. Hopefully they will spend the rest of their lives together and we'll be able to appreciate that couple. If you are into that show, you have to watch The Wedding. They're actually going to get married on ABC on January 4th, and I'm actually going to watch it because I just think we don't do enough to celebrate love after a certain age. And real love doesn't have to do with youth. It doesn't have to do even with beauty. It has to do with true partnership and true companionship. And so anyway, that is my take. That was my favorite article. The article did very well on Collider. If you are interested in any of the articles that I've talked about, you can go to collider.com. You could also just Google my name, Christal, and it's spelled like you guys see it right here, Christal. And Jordan, you can go to Collider. If you're interested in the American fiction article, make sure you visit rollingout.com and you'll be able to see that article. Make sure you check out that movie and let me know what you guys think. Do you think that art is for authenticity, or do you think it's for commercialization? And or are you fine accepting it both? Do you want to sit down with an intellectual read, or Maya Angelou, read, or do you just want to see Medea go boo, or run over? What she took the chainsaw and cut the couch into. What do you think about that? Also, let me know what you think about our heroes, our entertainment heroes. Are you okay with separating artists from their art? Or do you feel like we should not patronize the art of artists that commit crimes against others? Let me know what you think. I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me. Next week, I'll be back with a whole new bunch of trending topics based on my own articles. So that's what makes this different than other shows is I am writing about things that I have actually written about, and those articles are out there for you guys to read. Again, happy holidays. I hope you guys are enjoying the Christmas season. It's my absolute favorite time of year. I have my tree behind me. I ain't done all my Christmas shopping yet, but I'm looking forward to doing that. But make sure that you love on your families a little extra this year. Love on your friends. Remember, time is precious. It's the only thing that we can't duplicate. And I love you guys for watching, and I will see you right back here next time on Pop Culture Power with From Christal with Love XO. Have a good week. Bye.